This video is for creating project files and saving files on our drives. So in Audacity, we are going to save this. This is a brand new project. We just opened Audacity and we're going to click Save Project. And this is not an audio file. This is a project file. So we need to use this, go back into it, change it, create more content. So we are going to put this on our drives. So we're going to say OK. And it's going to ask us, where do you want to put this project file, this Audacity project file? We have to title it and put it somewhere. So we're going to call this assignment number 1. And we're going to use this drive here, DGMDA. And this drive is that big wonky, maybe I can put it up there. There we go. The big wonky LaCie drive. It's 5 terabytes. It's huge. It's a spinning disk. So I want you to remember, consider being very gentle with it. Try not to drop it. It's a mechanical disk. It's not solid state like the SSD drives. And it is always going to be in Mahoney. I have to bring it back every time to Mahoney and put it in room 200. There's going to be a stack of them. There's going to be 3 of them, A, B, and C. We're going to use A. We're the A team. So in there, there's another folder called Podcasting 4200. That's us. I made a folder for everybody. So, including myself. So there's me. I'm going to highlight that folder and we are going to save this project file. Now let me show you what that looks like, an Audacity project file. Go in here and there it is right there. It's .aup3. That little symbol is the Audacity icon. This is a project file. And I can open that at any time and come back in and work on this project. So for instance, say we have some content in here. Why don't I just throw in music for now? Anything, any old thing, country vibe. Now I go up to File and Save Project. This is something you should get into the habit of doing in Audacity. When you make a change, so you cut this out, or you add another file and you're making your edits, you should routinely go in and save the project. So now when it's time to close this out, make sure you've saved everything. And you hit the close. And it's gone. But you want to work on it again a couple days later. You go back into the drive or wherever you have this stored, because it's going to be in more than one place. This is the backup. And you just double click here and that'll open assignment 1. Let me put that back to where I'm my workspace here. Okay, so I just reopened that and I'm ready to work on it again. Now the other way I could have done that is, let's close that again and let's open Audacity one more time. Of course, you can always go in here, File, and it should show up in Open Recent, and there it is right there. If it isn't, you go into Open and it'll bring open your files again and you can pick the one you want. But right there, it's in Recent, so there it is. Now, I'm working on this project and I want to export a file of audio. So to do that, we're going to go here and we're going to export. And I want to export this entire project, this whole track here. So I'm going to choose export as MP3. And the reason why we're going to do that is because podcasts go up to the cloud as MP3. They do not go up as waves. So we're always going to save. I just say we get into the habit of it. MP3 files are smaller than waves. They're lighter, easier to move around. And that's why they're, for, again, for podcasting, you want as little bandwidth as possible. So we're going to choose to export this. Now, here is the drive I want to put it in. And I'm going to put it right in here, right with assignment 1. It's an MP3 file. It's at 128 kilobytes per second. We'll talk about that in more detail. But there's some choices here, and I use 128. It makes the file about the right size. And we're going to save that. Now, this is metadata. So I think it's important to do this when you are publishing something, or you have produced something, or you have worked on something, or your client, you're working for your client, and this is data that shows up. Let me see if I can show you this. Let me grab a podcast from Liz Bruner. Any podcast here. So the metadata is going to show up over here. The title I chose for this, it's a podcast episode title, Mark Romero. The author was Liz Bruner, so forth and so on. And you can, I recorded this at the Clarendon in Boston on my Rodecaster Pro. You can put in all kinds of information, the genres of podcasts, the year. You can give attribution here as well. So you could say, Dan Tebow produced this. And why is that important? It shows ownership. I think it's a good habit to get into. And as we move forward, I'm going to ask you to populate this with certain things like your name or, any other attributions you want to give. If you use royalty-free music that needs an attribution, this is a good place to do that. And, we're going to get into a lot of other things that you may want to put there, like effects, what effects you used, or things like that. I don't want to make this a Megillah that it's really big issue. But if you're going to get into the podcasting space, you really should know about this and mess with it a little bit. So I am going to, I'll put the year in, I'll put my name. If the podcast had a title, we'd put it there. If this was an episode, we'd put that there. We'll put podcast in here. I don't care about this, so we'll remove that. I'm highlighting and we're removing, remove. Sometimes things will populate in there already, especially if you are using royalty-free music, because that music file has its own metadata already in it, and it's going to dump into here. So I could fill out all these other fields. You get the point. I'm going to click OK, and the file exported. And now, let's go back to our big orange drive. Go into my folder, and there it is right there. So there's the assignment, and there is the assignment project file, and there is the assignment right here. So this is a playable file. And this is not. This is the project file. This is the user interface. So that's how we're going to save. I want you to also save the project and any files on your drive, whether that be OneDrive or Google Drive or however you're managing your files, and get into the habit of creating folders and subfolders. I know it's a pain in the neck. Get into the habit of using, a system of naming things this like in like manner. So assignment 1 the next assignment should be assignment 2. Don't call it something else. And also, I think it's worth the time to create subfolders. So right here, right now, I have assignment 1, but really, what I really should do is take the time to create a folder called assignment 1 and then dump all these things into it. Okay? So now it's just easier to find. It's easier for your workflow. The thing to keep in mind is to consider, do the difficult correct thing when you're filing rather than the easy incorrect thing. It only takes a couple of more moments to create these folders and organize and think about this in a logical way, and it's just going to save you so much hassle on the other side, on the workflow side. So consider that very, very strongly.